News and Views. I'm Danae Jones and it's my pleasure to bring you this week's segment. Today we're at the Harbourside Bar and Kitchen with its picture-perfect location overlooking the natural beauty of the Cairns Esplanade and Coral Sea. Harbourside Bar and Kitchen welcomes guests to Cairns' first exclusively natural wine bar with a new wine list that pairs well with its menu of paddock to plate Far North Queensland cuisine. The natural wine bar at the Harbourside Bar and Kitchen is available to the public, and regular masterclasses, wine tastings and wine dinners will be held to provide guests with an opportunity to learn more about natural wine, meet with winemakers and most importantly enjoy many superb natural wines from all over the world. Today we're talking to Brett Olds, Chairman of DEFNQ, a newly established group focused on expanding the defence industry of the Far Northern region. DEFNQ is an industry-led advocacy body backed by locally based former defence personnel, created solely to help Far North Queensland businesses with navigating and successfully doing business with the Australian Defence Force. Welcome to News and Views, Brett.
Thanks for having me, Danae.
It's an absolute pleasure. How lovely is this new setting?
It's not a bad get-up, is it? I'm going to have to bring the wife down here for dinner.
Absolutely. And we've got a few things that we can eat after our interview, hopefully, and our organic wine.
You know me so well.
So please share with our viewers about DEFNQ.
Well, DEFNQ stands for Defence Far North Queensland, and I'm a small business owner myself as well as a local councillor, and one of my good friends is actually, he's former Defence himself, and he actually does business with Defence over here, and he started talking me into, you should really start working with the Defence Force. And I said, I'll just put in the too hard basket. For us civvies, it's not really working with acronyms and understanding how defence works. You just put in the too hard basket and you don't do it. So I took his advice and I went to a couple of trade shows and I just saw the potential and I saw, oh my God, it works differently now than it used to years ago on how to get in. And there are some pretty simple rules and things to follow. And there's organisations out there that the federal government and the state government have that are there to help you, small business owners. But the thing is, no one knows. And I was lucky enough to have a friend to tell me about it. And I just thought, we need to get this word out. And he thought the same thing. So about 15 months ago, we just started talking to people, saying, how can we get, defence dollars in Cairns in our region? Because I think defence is going to spend like over $300 billion, they're saying.
Over the next decade?
Over the next decade, they're going to spend over $300 billion. And we're not even fighting for a slice of that pie, So you've got other states. Western Australia's doing a great job. South Australia, if you took defence out of South Australia, they'd fall over. They do a really good job with defence contracting. In Victoria, they kill it too. Queensland doesn't do so well as a state, but the little bit we do get, it goes to southeast corner or it goes to Townsville. We've got HMAS Navy up here, we've got the Marine Precinct, and they do a pretty decent job in Cairns, but none of our other manufacturers get a look in. And I didn't realise again until you start digging. So we started DEFNQ. And then we start doing some digging and getting companies on board. We have more manufacturing in Cairns than Townsville has. And everyone I talk to, no one would believe that. But it's like the capabilities we have locally and the information we have through our friends and myself now and everything else, we just want to get the information out there. So it's free to join up, defnq.com.au. If people just come and sign on to our website, leave their company details, what their capabilities are, what happens anytime we get a prime, one of the big contractors like Boeing, Lockheed Martin, BAE Systems, Leidos, Talos, I mean there's lots of primes. The military in Australia does business with the primes, and for anyone out there going, well, why would anyone want to do business with me? I'm a small company in Cairns. The thing is the Australian government, and it's got bipartisan support, so it wouldn't have mattered who won the last election, Labor or Liberal, they both agree that they want Australian dollars spent with Australian, they call them SMEs, small to medium enterprise. So they want companies like mine and yours to do business with. And the prime contractors, who are international companies, no longer, the defence aren't going to buy their boots from India, their belts from China, wherever it's cheaper. They want the dollars going to small businesses in Australia. So they've told the primes, you need what's called AIC, Australian Industry Capabilities. You need to go see Brett Olds and Danae Jones, and you need to go see these people, do business with the Mars and Pars, and then we'll award you a contract. But if you don't have enough AIC, you won't get it. So yeah, it's all changed, and we just want to get that information out there and tell people how it works.
And I think even leadership in our community, some of them don't realise the opportunities that aren't being tapped as well. I know you and I have had the conversation many times in trying to explain to not just the business community, but some of the leaders in the community that small to medium enterprise is definitely a market for defence.
It absolutely is a market. I mean, whether it's even accommodation places are a market. Cleaners, if you make grommets, swivels, it could be printing labels on T-shirts. There's a space in defence for that kind of company. And you're right, leaders, some of the leaders in the community, they again like, no, it's just leave it alone. It's not our space, not our core business. Because when you don't understand something, it's easier to ignore it than actually try and learn more about it. So that's been one of the biggest things we've overcome over the last 15 months. Is actually now we've got a lot of the peak industries like TTNQ, Advanced Cans, Cairns Chamber of Commerce, Enterprise North, all these guys, they're actually, you got what you guys are doing is great. North Ship's come involved, the state government, the Department of Manufacturing and Industry.
Tropical Reef Shipyard.
Yeah, they're all come on board.
BSC.
So it's like a snowball. It's taken time, but we're starting to build momentum. And we've already had two meetings up here with two of the primes. We had Lockheed Martin, the biggest prime in the world. That was our first meeting we had, which was fantastic. We had about 80 people turn up to that meeting. And then we had BAE Systems come into town 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And there was about 40 people there, but they were really good. I think there's going to be some contracts that will eventuate from these meetings. And it's all about information sharing. I call it ignorance and competence. You don't know what you don't know until someone's told you. So we just think, let's just tell them, let's spread the good word. Let's make sure defence, that people in Canberra, people in Brisbane, they know that Cairns has the capabilities. Let's wave to them, let's tell them, come here and look at what we got. And because when these primes come to Cairns, we want to give them all their opportunities. We want to know what they want from us, and here's how we can fit this market. And what happens is they all talk. It's a small world, the defence world, and I think Cairns is starting to get, we're starting to attract some attentions. People are already asking down in Canberra, what's this DEFNQ crowd? This is pretty cool. So, and it's only early days. So I don't want people out there thinking it's a get-rich-quick scheme. It is still difficult working with defence, but we just want to help to connect the dots and navigate, because we always talk about diversifying the economy up here. Cairns is one of the most beautiful places in the world. That's why we choose to live here and raise our kids here. But everything's hinged off tourism, really. 23% of our economy is tourism, but everything else kind of hinges off it. You've got education is huge, health is huge. But when we talk about diversification, most new ideas are just recycled ideas that come up. But this one is true diversification. This one is, if we can get companies up here, SMEs, small to medium enterprise, working with defence, it wouldn't matter if the reef wasn't there or the rainforest wasn't there. We hope it stays forever, of course. But this is truly a standalone industry that can help benefit our brothers and sisters up here in Cairns. And I do get really excited about it, because I just wish there'd been people telling me about this years ago. And so, we're telling people now, and we'll see. I hope we look back in 5 years and we can talk about everything we've done, but we're at very early days right now.
Absolutely. But you were mentioning about Cairns Chamber of Commerce, Advanced Cans, and people might say, well, is DEFNQ replicating or duplicating what those advocacy groups are doing? And you're not, are you? You're working with them and trying to feed the information into those entities so that they're armed up with all the information they need to go on and continue to advocate forward for the industry.
Oh, that's absolutely it. We're collaborating. And we are an advocacy body. We're not a lobbying body. We're not going to be flying down to Canberra. We've got a lot of mouthpieces in Cairns already. We've mentioned a few of the different peak organisations, and some people have said, oh, another advocacy body, but it's not like that at all.
No.
We're mainly a networking body, really, and we worked for the last 15 months with a lot of these other guys, and they want someone to be an expert to work with them. So if Chamber of Commerce puts on an event, we're not going to put an event right next door to them and try and compete with them. They'll actually invite us in. Hey, for the defence section, would you come and do a speech on that? And vice versa. If we have an event, everyone's invited to come along and see what we're doing. It really is collaborating, and we're not making out we speak for Cairns. We're just saying, hey, we've got some information. Come over here and we'll tell you about it. You only need one mouthpiece per region, and in my opinion, that should be the mayor. And all those peak bodies should be working with council. So the mayor, when he goes to Canberra or he goes to Brisbane, we're all singing from the same playbook and the same song sheet. But and I think we are slowly getting closer to that. But we're not going to put ourselves into that space where we make out that we're a mouthpiece for Cairns at all on a national stage. We just want the people of Cairns to know that we want to be their information avenue, so we can get the information to them, we can take the information from them and plug it into the right areas. And I think all those organisations, Advanced Cairns, Enterprise North, Chamber of Commerce, and even the State Department of Manufacturing, all that, they understand that's where we're playing. So there really has been, there's always at least one naysayer, someone throwing stones and saying, oh, this is a negative thing. So far to date, everyone's been like, we get it. We get what you guys are doing and we fully support it. So it really has been fantastic for that aspect, because I don't like butting heads with people. I'll do it if I have to, but we just haven't had to with this, because we're not We're not trying to jump into anyone's space.
And I think people can see the opportunities. I mean, it's an absolute credit to you guys having two big primes come to Cairns within a very short space of time. I mean, the prime being Lockheed Martin and then BAE Systems and ASC Shipbuilding coming to Cairns within a matter of 4 weeks and speaking to the business community and saying we want to do business with you. That's extraordinary work.
Oh, it is. The feedback we're getting too from the local business owners is like, they're already asking us, we want to join your committee, we want to help you. So, I mean, and we're like, well, we haven't even formed a committee yet. So we've got a few steps to go, but early days, all the signs are looking really good, and we'll see how it goes over the coming years. But I think if we keep the right attitude, keep our focus on, we are here to benefit the local community and the local businesses, and that's all we're here to do. I think we'll be fine. My favourite acronym, and I'm learning a bunch of acronyms now in working in the defence space, but my favourite one isn't a defence one, it's KISS. Keep it simple, stupid, and I love it. So we're just going to try and keep things simple, and we're going to just move things forward.
One of the biggest takeaways for me when BAE Systems and ASC Shipbuilding came to Cairns a couple of weeks ago was the fact that, yes, shipbuilding, we did not win that contract for the Hunter class, and people might say, oh look, we should have actually won that, Adelaide shouldn't have won that, but the reality is the sustainment and maintenance of those vessels long term is worth so much money to our region, and that's what they were really here to say that day, is if everybody in the shipbuilding space, the steel fabrication space and everything in between collaborates, this is a 50-year program of work, and we want to actually work with you people.
Well, that's right, and you've got to excuse the pun, but all boats rise in a high tide.
Yeah.
So just because we're not building the boats here doesn't mean that our manufacturers up here can't be building stuff and sending it down there. Doesn't mean that we're not going to get the Hunter class ones and the offshore patrol vessels. We will get some stationed here, and they'll be based here. They'll have crews that are associated with that. They'll need sustainment as well. They'll need food. Those people are going to buy microwaves, houses, bedding, furniture.
Yeah.
So the whole economy grows when you bring those kind of things in, and these are some of the organisations like CDIC, CASG, and all these other federal organisations. They're there to help local small businesses. The defence doesn't want to do business with you and have you fall over in 3 years. As you just mentioned, they're 50-year contracts, and some of these things have been going on longer than 50 years. Some of these contracts. So what they want to do, these federal organisations are coming in. They've got grant streams, and they'll say, look, we'll match you dollar for dollar to help you build your business, because we don't just want to do business with you for a short term. We want to make sure that you're sustainable for the long term, so we're protected for the long term too. It's a win-win, and that's the other thing. A lot of people don't understand it. There is, they won't trust me because I'm just a small business, and these are defence contracts. There's the Air Force. Some of the I forget the name of the part of the back of the wing. Every plane in the world is manufactured, that part of the wing is manufactured in Melbourne. Now I forget which plane it was and I forget the name of it, so I apologise about that.
We're still learning.
But I'm like, there's some Ma and Pa organisation in Melbourne that is building this for every single Air Force plane in the world that does that. So the Australian government are helping small businesses to stay sustainable for the 20-year contract, 50-year contract, whatever it is, and train you up as it goes. So you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, so I encourage everyone out there, it's defnq.com.au. Just sign up and have a crack. Let's see if you can't get a business in. Don't put all your eggs in one basket and just chase defence, but add it to your repertoire. It's the 80-20 rule.
Absolutely.
Yeah, spend 80% of your time on your core business, like your Mars and Pars or whoever you do business with. That other 20% of the time, go for Moby Dick, go for the big white whale, and have a look at it, because defence don't buy things in ones, twos or tens. They buy things in the hundreds of thousands at a time, so it's the opportunity's real, it's out there, and if we don't fight for our slice of the pie, I guarantee you won't get any, but let's go fight for a little piece of the action.
Look, I think it's admirable what you're doing, and we look forward to supporting you in the process, and I hope you'll come back and check in and tell us how DEFNQ is travelling.
Yeah, I hope to come back with really good news here in the next couple of years, so it's and before that too, hopefully, but I can tell you we had a prime come up here before DEFNQ had started, and it was my friend who helped, who really got this started.
Tell our viewers about that story.
Yeah, so there's Rheinmetall Defence. They came, they're another big prime, and they came to Cairns. It was probably 16, 17 months ago, and unfortunately I didn't go along and go see them. I am actually going to be talking to them here soon down in Brisbane, but only 2 people in Cairns. When a prime comes up here, and they're being told by the Australian government, we want you to do business with SMEs.
And they're the biggest in the world.
Yeah, they're one of the biggest, and so they turn up in Cairns, and only 2 people show up. They're like, well, why would I go back to Cairns? I would go somewhere else. But they came to Cairns, 2 people showed up, and 50% of those people got a contract and won a big contract with
a global
Rheinmetall.
contract.
A global contract, that's right, for all the boxes that they're going to make, and they're going to manufacture them in southeast Queensland. But a Cairns business is going to make every little sensor for them, that every time something goes wrong, I think it's with one of the back ribs or hubs, the sensor goes off. It's a real simple thing, but they're a small to medium sized business in Cairns, and for a worldwide contract that's going to do business with Rheinmetall. So what we want to do is make sure next time Rheinmetall come, and we're trying to get them before the end of the year, might not get them too early next year to come back in, we want to have more than 2 people in the room. We want to show the primes and Defence Force that we're serious. Cairns is a player and we can take care of your needs. And Red Cat's the name of the company that got that contract, and he might have that contract for the next 30, 40 years. And all because he turned up, and that's all he did, different than anyone else. He just turned up and showed them, hey, here's what I can do. And they said, we can use that, because not only are they helping him by doing that contract, he's helping them. Because when he went to Christopher Pyne, who at the time was the Minister for Defence, and said, we're going to build this Boxer in Australia, if that's what it's called, it's an armoured vehicle. And I think I had 83% AIC, 83% of everything on that Boxer was going to come from Australia. And Christopher Pyne said, no, it's not enough. Go back around Australia, we want that to get higher. And after that trip, that's one of the times they came to Cairns, they went back and I think it was up to 95% AIC, and he signed that contract, and it was a $5 billion contract for Rheinmetall, but they wouldn't have got it without the small to medium businesses. So,
and I love those stories, and they're the stories that we want to hear more of.
Yeah, and I look forward to coming back and sharing plenty more of them with you over the coming years. So.
We'd love you too. Thanks for joining us, Brett.
No worries, thanks for having me.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, cheers.
So there you have it, folks. Brett Olds, Chairman of DEFNQ. It's free to join up. Go on to www.defnq.com.au and see the events that they've got coming up and the workshops and training initiatives that they'll have rolling out in the coming weeks and months ahead. That's all we have for you this week. We'll see you next week.